Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, a multi-billion dollar asset management company plans to use the Stellar blockchain for a new fund. Franklin Templeton Investments filed a preliminary prospectus with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday for a money market fund whose shares would be recorded on the Stellar network. The plan requires the SEC's approval. To be clear, the fund would not invest in any cryptocurrencies or crypto projects. Rather, the ownership of the fund shares may be maintained and recorded solely on the Stellar network, the prospectus says. According to the prospectus, the money fund would seek a $1 per share net asset value, with 99.5% of its investments in government securities, cash, and repurchase agreements further backed by government securities or cash. Sounds smart. Shares would be purchasable on the asset manager's online app, but out on the secondary market. Minimum purchases start at $20. The prospectus says Franklin Templeton believes blockchain-based shares provide transparency for shareholders, but warns they come with their own risks, including hacking and loss of funds. As such, the firm cautioned, there we go, that's the right word, that its Stellar project is a test and the fund is liable to liquidation if decided upon by Franklin Templeton. So, why is this significant, you might ask? It's because I was screamed at by people before when we had news similar to this. The idea is, while they may not be holding or using the Lumens token per se, we also had news slightly similar to this a couple of months ago when we had information that IBM, yes, the company IBM, says they signed 6 banks to issue stablecoins and use Stellar's XLM cryptocurrency. When you read through all of it, what it comes down to is that apparently for certain payments, they're going to use Lumens, but with the banks that they are working with for their thing, I think it's called WorldWire. Yeah, here we go, WorldWire. The banks will be issuing their own stable coins, but they're going to be using the Stellar blockchain. Once again, why is it significant? Like I said, people screamed at me before, because when I spoke about this, I kind of said a little whoop-de-doo, but they made sure that I knew that apparently when you're using the Lumens blockchain, the Stellar Lumens blockchain, any transaction that happens on it incurs a fee, and therefore the fees are paid in Lumens, and therefore money flowing through the Stellar Lumens blockchain will always have some type of a fee associated with it, and therefore this is them using the Lumens token. So I saw this news on at least 7 different cryptocurrency news pages, outlets, wherever you decide to call them. Apparently, Franklin Templeton, the people who are going to be using the Stellar blockchain, have over $700 billion worth of assets. One can only assume, as they plan on all of this being recorded solely on the Stellar network, that'll then be billions of dollars worth of assets that will be tracked and flowing through the Stellar blockchain, as it were. Quite fascinating. We don't hear about Stellar that much anymore. A lot of the news about Stellar has kind of disappeared. That's not to say that Stellar isn't still going to be used potentially in some sort of way. However, the hype that we had before from the entire IBM XLM cryptocurrency usage thing has kind of taken a back seat. But also, to be fair, I think we're still in one of those periods, at least in my opinion, while we may be getting tons of good news about like regulations and what's happening, and this is moving forward, and this is so and so and so, a lot of updates still have not been updated, and a lot of companies, I think, are still holding back a large amount of news, waiting for a potential hyper bull run parabolic move, because what we've seen before in the past is that whenever really good news gets introduced into the market, it's usually forgotten about a day later unless prices are already going completely insane. Here's the actual filing for them with the SEC. This is like the worst looking website I think I have ever seen in my entire life. This website looks like it was made in 1992, but alas, here's the actual filing from Franklin Templeton Investments with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. And for those of you, who were interested in actually seeing the actual filing. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Poloniex is in the news. United States-based cryptocurrency exchange known as Poloniex will upgrade its XRP wallets on Monday, resulting in temporarily limited services on the exchange. US-based crypto exchange known as Poloniex took to Twitter to announce the upgrade of its XRP wallets on the 5th of September. The crypto exchange took to Twitter to explain that it will upgrade its XRP wallets to further enhance the user experience. Fancy words. Once the upgrade is implemented, the base reserve deposit requirement of 20 XRP to create a new address will no longer be needed. In addition, deposit confirmations have been reduced from 12 to 2, which will reduce deposit times from 20 minutes to about 15 seconds. On the 13th of August, Cointelegraph reported that Poloniex announced a scheme to reimburse users affected by a flash crash in May. That's not really that important, especially for what we're talking about. The interesting part is right here. A number of cryptocurrency exchanges. This is usually not the most exciting news, but I guess I'll compile it all into one little dollop at the exact same time. A number of cryptocurrency exchanges have started, I think Binance was also one of them as well, have started to reduce the amount of confirmations that they actually need for a payment, a transaction to actually be confirmed. A number of, I think, Bitcoin developers have also been on podcasts talking about this as well. I think that I can't remember the exact normal requirement for the amount of transactions to be able to confirm a Bitcoin transaction when it's being sent to a cryptocurrency exchange. It's usually a lot. I think it's between like 10, 15, or 20 transactions or something like that, but a lot of them have been reducing it because of the strength and robustness of the Bitcoin blockchain. That usually people can tell if a confirmation is real, valid, after I think the third or fourth confirmation taking place. So this is why this is also significant, and that the deposit confirmations are being dropped down from 12 to 2, which is completely insane, and the deposit time as well from 20 minutes to 15 seconds. I'm pretty sure you've noticed as well if you've ever used Binance, Coinbase, Poloniex, any other website, you send money to them from your cryptocurrency wallet, and you find yourself refreshing the page about every 18 seconds because you're like, where's my money? Where's my money? Because it's different if you send from wallet to wallet, from wallet to your phone. You usually see the confirmation or the payment or the transaction in about a good 8 seconds. I've sent XRP before between wallets and computers. It took no more than about 3.5 seconds, and that's not even a joke. So this is going to happen more and more. A part of the reason why this is happening, I assume, one, people on cryptocurrency exchanges have probably been complaining. If it takes about 20 minutes to get your transaction, I've had times before where I've tried to deposit Bitcoin or withdraw Bitcoin, and it's taken over an hour. It's very stressful. Even if it's not a huge amount of money, it can be a couple of $100s. It's still, you sit there kind of like, these things go through your head. Is my money lost? What's happening? So and so and so. But a lot of the other payment options, as far as, what are they called? The companies who are trying to get people to be able to use their cryptocurrencies to be able to buy stuff in stores, beds, shoes, toasters, whatever people are buying with cryptocurrencies. They also have a thing where they're trying to reduce the amount of confirmations needed, because if you've ever paid with cryptocurrencies before inside of a store, it sometimes takes a while. You stand there looking at the person while they look at you, and you look at your phone. You make sure that you scanned it. They make sure that you scanned it. They turn the computer back to them. You turn it back to you. So it takes a while. So they're trying to reduce this as much as possible. Anyway, that's the confirmation reduction time news. And side note, I guess maybe main note, you are using Poloniex. Pay attention, because on Monday you will probably not be able to withdraw or deposit any XRP to your account. But very nice to hear that this is actually happening as far as the reduction of times. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, blockchain platform known as Waves and game distribution platform known as The Abyss will jointly launch a blockchain-based marketplace of digital goods and in-game items. In a blog post published on the 5th of September, The Abyss revealed its collaboration with the Waves platform aimed at the development of blockchain-powered marketplace of tradable goods and in-game items. The marketplace will enable users to purchase items with the Abyss token, sell them to other users. The integration of Abyss tokens with Waves blockchain, there we go, will allow game developers to incorporate Abyss tokens operations directly into their Waves-based games. Commenting on the development, Sasha, why couldn't I say that? Sasha Ivanov, Founder and CEO of the Waves platform said, and I do quote, "We recognize the huge potential of the $100 billion+ gaming sector as a major use case for blockchain, which fits perfectly with current gaming mechanisms, trading of goods. We strongly believe that the gaming industry will be an enthusiastic adopter of blockchain in partnership with the Abyss will drive its widespread use," end quote. One, we almost never, ever hear about Waves. Two, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Waves was a platform that was meant to be like not an opponent, not a rival. Why can't I ever think of the actual word? Against like Tron and EOS. Like I said, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, to be fair, I haven't done an enormous amount of research into Waves because I don't care about it. That's kind of the most honest thing I can kind of say. The point being, I do like what they actually are doing with this platform. Why? Because one, I like video games. Two, I want to start playing blockchain games. They have yet to really come out en masse. But the idea behind it is that in the future, people will be able to own their in-game items, i.e., if you used a sword or if you used a shield and you really liked it, you'll be able to take those shield and those swords and actually transfer it to another game that's on the same exact blockchain, i.e., if you're playing a game where you're collecting cats, and the other game you're fighting dragons, you'll be able to take these items and transport them to the other place. And also, more importantly, you'll also be able to own them as well. This comes down to the digitization of everything and the ownership rights and the so. Kind of fascinating. It will be interesting to see if we actually hear more from this. I don't know. I've thought about it a couple of times, and I've been trying to figure out exactly what the catalyst would be for cryptocurrency blockchain games to really take off. As of now, we have a couple of them that are relatively popular. They're normally gambling games. I'm waiting for like a video game. If you play video games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As of yet, we still haven't really seen any of them. And even this also comes to mind as well. We haven't really heard a lot from EOS at all over the last 6-7 months. Nothing about updates, nothing about games. We had information last year, if I'm not mistaken, that the people or associates from Blizzard, the people who made World of Warcraft, were working with the people from EOS to develop a video gaming platform on top of EOS that would be cool, fantastic, amazing. But as of yet, we haven't heard anything about that. The last time we heard from EOS was when they were, what was that thing? Oh, Voice, their social media platform, which I also would have assumed we would have heard a little bit more about after the white paper launch of Libra. You would have assumed that as a social media platform, we would have heard a bit more from them. Oh, just a little side note, I do own EOS, so this is not me talking smack about them. I still think EOS is going to be incredibly successful. It's kind of just stuff floating through my head when I'm thinking about like the actual video game blockchain space. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, so the next couple of topics will be the world is obsessed with Libra. That's the topic that we're going to be focusing on, and you'll understand very, very fast. The Swiss National Bank, or the SNB, is afraid that digital currencies like Facebook's Libra might impede the central bank's capability to initiate and implement monetary policy. This is the conclusion of Thomas Jordan, chairman of the Swiss National Bank's governing board. While the discussion around Libra tailed off, the SNB chairman found it opportune to express his worries about how such a digital currency could intervene with the central bank's potential to handle its monetary policy. On a side note, the Libra Association has its headquarters in Geneva. Thus, a reaction from the Swiss authorities was expected. Speaking on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the University of Basel's Faculty of Business and Economics, Thomas Jordan said that a stablecoin pegged to the Swiss franc would impose fewer risks. He explained, as long as prices, wages, and loans are set in the Swiss franc, the SNB can influence incentives for savers and borrowers via its monetary policy and thus ensure price stability over the medium term. I'm glad that he's honest as far as price stability over the medium term. Realize he did not say over the long term. However, if stablecoins pegged to foreign currencies were to establish themselves in Switzerland, the effectiveness of our monetary policy could be impaired. Interestingly enough, Jordan is not alone. Obviously, on Sunday, Yves Mersch, Board member at the almost said the Chicago. I almost said the Chicago Bulls. Board member at the European Central Bank said that the widespread adoption of Libra could be viewed as a threat to the European Central Bank's ability to manage its monetary policy. The point being, one of the things that the US didn't like about Libra or Facebook's Libra or Calibra was that it was going to be in Switzerland. So it's kind of fascinating to see that people within Switzerland also don't care for it as much as well. One of the main things, especially as he's talking about a stable coin that's pegged to the Swiss franc, would be great for them. Part of the thing that Facebook is doing is that they are pegging or putting the price of their currency, digital coin, to tons of different currencies as opposed to just one, as we've seen many other things taking place around the world. And this is worrying governments, banks, institutions, because when it's not theirs, they can't control it. Side note, this is not me rooting for Facebook in any way. I'm just kind of once again going over, because this kind of all slammed onto my desk at the exact same time. The multitude of news stories back to back with people, companies, corporations, banks, all talking about either negatively about Libra or how much better they are than Libra, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So at the moment, it's interesting to see that even though they're in their country, people within Switzerland are also not too happy about this entire thing. I would love to see into the future to see exactly how this is all going to turn out. The fact that no country is happy about this, but it's relatively clear that this is still going to launch. I wonder who's going to jump on board, who's going to jump onto the bandwagon to kind of make sure that they're also not left behind as this initiative ends up being launched. Anyway, like I said, tying almost directly into it, next story is JPMorgan analysts say Libra could face gridlock in periods of network stress, and that this could have serious macroeconomic consequences. The new breed of stablecoins led by Facebook's Libra could be vulnerable to failure in periods of network stress. According to an analysis from JPMorgan released on the 5th of September, they lack the short-term liquidity of other payment systems, so usage could grow faster than the network can safely support. In a note to clients, analysts highlighted the potential for substantial growth in stablecoin payment systems like Libra, but JPMorgan urges caution if the network becomes responsible for a significant portion of global transaction activity. And that's insane that they made sure to note that. This is why I keep saying I'll put it this way. I think that people who listen to the channel understand, at least maybe portion-wise, of the effect that this is actually going to have. Keep in mind, Facebook is trying to become the world's largest bank that we have ever seen, and this is why all this stuff is going on. The note says, and I do quote, "As currently designed and proposed, they do not take into account the microstructure of operating such a payment system. The risk of payment system gridlock, particularly during periods of stress, could have serious macroeconomic consequences, i.e., if Facebook somehow, over the course of a year, does enough with their advertising, getting people onto their platform, giving away free Libra, getting people to use them, we also have a wind of potentially people in Facebook actually accepting their paychecks in Libra. How terrible is that? The idea is, if you get 1 billion people on your platform has to work. What happens when 1 billion people are using it, let's say even 25% of their payments, they're sending money to friends, sending money to so-and-so, getting paid in Libra. Also, we saw before that Uber and Lyft are also part of the Libra group. If you're trying to pay for your Uber or your Lyft, or if it's attached somehow to Visa and MasterCard, as we know that they're also partners with it, and Facebook has a system outage or something goes down, because we know that it's not going to be as decentralized as they claim that it's going to be. And we've also seen before in the past, Facebook itself has had many outages. So what happens when 1 billion people, one eighth, 1/7 of every person on this planet is using Libra, and the system goes down? Imagine even a more terrible scenario where a good 1.5 billion, 2 billion people are on their platform or using Libra, and it just doesn't work. After about 5 years of it being out, that would, first of all, it would be great for Bitcoin, I think someone did an estimate or actually like calculated the numbers, and I think Bitcoin has been active, I think 99.86% of the time since its inception. Like, it's never, except for that, 0.14, had any downtime. Or if it did have downtime, it was just like a slowdown of the network. Facebook itself has crashed many times. So this is fascinating to see, one, that we're getting analysis like this, that JPMorgan Chase is paying attention. And three, I don't really trust JPMorgan. They've said that they hated Facebook before. And then we saw them about a year ago talking about that they were buying Bitcoin. So how unsurprised would you be if by January 2020, we saw Jamie Dimon sitting on stage talking about that he is a member of Facebook's Libra? Zero surprise. However, just to bring this point on home, what annoys me about things like this, and once again, this is not NOT, this is not me rooting for Libra, but I find it a little annoying, very annoying, when corporations, banks, whatever, decide to shun, throw down, whatever, throw under the bus certain new things that they may not control, or that they may even be purchasing or buying or have a stake in at the same moment, because it's not like Swift has been all that good. For those of you who are not looking at the screen, it says special report, not so Swift. Bank messaging system slow to address weak points. This one says Swift banking system was hacked at least 3 times this summer. That was in 2016. And this one says, if it's going to load, why aren't gaps in Swift fixed? RBI asks bank chief. In 2018, we know Swift is terrible. A lot of people don't like using Swift, and yet banks make sure to never ever discuss how terrible Swift is, how payments get sent back. Sometimes it can take around 7 or 8 days for the payment system, which is Swift, to actually send messages around the world. Imagine a text message taking 7 days to get to your friend. Imagine you writing your dissertation, copying, pasting it, putting it into an email, and it taking 7 days to arrive. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. I find myself caught between worlds sometimes. Because, and I'll tell you honestly, I would love a scenario where Libra is dominant in the world and all of a sudden it crashes. It would only show the strength of decentralized cryptocurrencies, currencies that aren't under the guise or control of a mega conglomerate such as Facebook. On the other 50%, that would be catastrophic to many people, not even world economies, to actual people who are relying on Libra. Any crash in the Libra system would be completely detrimental to the potential hundreds of millions, if not billions of people who are using it. But you understand what I'm saying. We know that these systems aren't meant for the everyday people. They're meant to keep the power within the hands of those who are already powerful. But I always find myself sitting there. I mean, it's not like a daily thing that I'm like, thinking about like, oh gosh, can't wait till Libra crashes. But it's more like I would like to see it launch and then kind of fizzle, just so we can get more backbone, more support behind Bitcoin. Let's move on. Once again, keeping with the trend of we're better than Libra, and therefore we're gonna talk about it. A top official at China's central bank has confirmed that the country's forthcoming digital currency will bear similarities to Facebook's Libra token. The English language website of the Hong Kong Economic Journal reported the news on the 6th of September, citing prior coverage by Shanghai Securities News, which is owned by the official Chinese state-run Xinhua news agency. So for those of you who don't know, everything within China is run by the government. So this news indirectly comes from the Chinese government. Mu Changchun, deputy director of the People's Bank of China's payment department, has said that China's digital currency will be supported across major e-payments platforms such as Tencent's WeChat and Alibaba's Alipay. The tokens will be guaranteed by the central bank and thus as secure as the People Bank of China's issued paper notes and can be used without an internet connection to ensure that transactions can continue even in the event that communications networks are down. This is actually quite significant for a number of reasons. We've also seen this within the cryptocurrency space as well. It's not that it's not the most relevant news. We had news last year as Venezuela was in the beginning of the crazy hyperinflation that they were going through. Many people around the world, I want to say some developers of Bitcoin, don't hold me to that, people were figuring out ways to actually send Bitcoin without the actual need for internet. People found a way to send it through text messaging. And I think there was also, Blockstream, one of the heads of the code for Bitcoin, I think they launched their own satellite, which is also being used as a way to be able to send Bitcoin transactions should the internet be down. So there's, I was going to say I don't understand why, but I understand perfectly why. It's widely believed, or rather, if you just want to be honest, countries don't like each other. And one of the main things that they don't like about each other is that they are around, if that kind of makes any sense. And one of the things that's been going around, especially if you pay attention to the news, you may hear about it every now and again. Countries try to hack other countries often. It's not just one country doing it to, a couple others. They're all doing it to each other. And one of the main things is that they've realized how to do is how to hack each other's electrical infrastructure. And with that, without spending too much time on this topic, it is a major fear of many countries that should another country manage to hack their electrical grid and shut it down, nothing will work. That's kind of the idea. So I assume this is also being done as a way to kind of, just in case we don't have an internet connection, payments and money can still flow, what have you, so on and so forth. Speaking of the country's motivations to pursue a digital currency, Mu argued that the coin would help protect China's foreign exchange sovereignty, even as numerous commercial applications of digital currencies gain traction. He said, "Why is the central bank still doing such a digital currency today when electronic payment methods are so developed? It is to protect our monetary sovereignty and legal currency status. We need to plan ahead for a rainy day." That might be the most honest that I've ever seen a government leader. It comes down to the fact that the only reason China and everyone else at this moment is launching their own cryptocurrency or their own coin, their own digital asset, their own stablecoin is because Facebook is doing so. Facebook is banned in China, if I'm not mistaken. I have a friend who's there and he tells me, pretty much everything that you use on a daily basis is banned in China. But people still use Facebook. There are VPNs, there are ways to get around it. And he said that tons of people still use it and people would be interested in using Facebook's currency within China. And I think the Bank of China also knows this, and as does every other country around the world at this point. This is why they're all talking negatively about Libra, because it comes down to the fact that you may not like it, we may not like it, but we all know, we all have friends and family who are going to continue using Facebook. And the moment that Libra launches, they'll use it and they'll brag about using it and they'll post photos about them using it, and just kind of how things are. Once again, I always am quite interested in seeing how things are going to turn out within the next couple of years. When Libra launches, it's going to be huge. I assume we're also going to have an Amazon coin. There's also talk of like an Apple coin. I hope they don't do that. It would be absolutely terrible. Other coins are going to start to come out. We're going to start to see the beginnings of economic collapse for many other countries around the world. To be honest, we see it already. If you watch the economic news, if Europe and the US are already not doing well, one can only assume that other countries are also not doing well as well, if that makes sense. When all of these things start launching, the idea is, if you ever have any free time to yourself, watch any of Andreas Antonopoulos' videos. It's very fascinating because the stuff that he says, sometimes you'll sit there, you'll hear things that he says, and it just sounds very far-fetched. You go, okay, cool, that's, okay, whatever. But he spoke about countries issuing their own currencies years ago. And now we're seeing it happen. And the other part of that being is that he said that eventually citizens within these countries would be drawn to Bitcoin. He doesn't talk much about the price, but obviously, the price is a huge incentive to get into it, but also just because of the freedom. Once people realize how surveyed, watched, that they are going to be with these coins, these, so and so and so, that'll be touted as amazing things for you to use. You're going to receive a discount if you use this. It'll be cool. It'll be fun. They'll have those photos of, family smiling and hugging as they're, on their phones using these coins. It's just a marketing ploy to get you to use it. But once people realize that everything that they do is being watched and followed, they're going to then turn to decentralized cryptocurrencies. And this is what I think government and world leaders already know this. And this is what I think a lot of the fear has been thus far, as far as them even, openly talking about their economic sovereignty, because they understand that they're getting to the point where, forgive my French, people are tired of their BS and people are looking for alternatives. The same exact thing where we heard the guy a couple of days ago talking about that the world needs to move away from the US dollar. And it's just all, I think everyone's gotten to that point where they're kind of like, okay, we don't need this one anymore. Let's move over to something different. Anyway, here's the actual article right here. Ejinsite, E-J-I-N-Site. I have no idea how to even pronounce that website's name. But yeah, let us move on. To kind of finish things off, the stablecoin company Tether is reportedly considering the launch of 2 new crypto assets. One coin would be pegged to commodities such as gold and crude. The other would be pegged to the official currency of the People's Republic of China, the renminbi. I think we spoke about the Chinese coin, I think a day ago, or a day or two ago. Bitfinex shareholder Cao Dong told Cointelegraph that its sister company Tether is looking to lower the risk involved in creating stablecoins that are solely backed by fiat. Tether has long faced accusations that its USD coin is not fully backed by US dollar. So and so, who cares? So and blah, 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 no one cares. So and so. Okay, the point being, them and I think one other company who I don't have up here right now, they're trying to launch their own stable coins that are being backed by gold. For anybody out there gets too excited, we've seen these before and nearly all of them have failed, if not all of them. I don't keep track of gold stable coins that often. However, I can tell you, since I got into cryptocurrency, 2013, 2014, this has happened multiple times. The idea is, I understand, or rather, I can appreciate what they're trying to do. Not so much Tether. I mean, Tether's been embroiled in controversy since as long as we can remember. The point being, or rather the idea behind it is to have a currency backed by something that we have historically seen as a stable something of value. The US dollar used to be pegged to gold and silver, and it's been a long time since that happened. So the idea is that someone wants to create a new currency that is going to be therefore pegged to gold once again, that can kind of lift off. However, for those of you who are not looking at the screen, I will read these off to you. It says, load of bullion. A new gold-backed Bitcoin is a disaster in waiting. That is very true. This was made in 2014. This one says, new gold-backed cryptocurrency InCoin allows you to mine gold for free. July 18th, 2014. A cryptocurrency backed by gold, how retail gold investors can benefit from Bitcoin's technology. August 11th, 2014. Iran launches gold-backed cryptocurrency known as Covenant. That was the 18th of June, 2019. And to bring it on home, gold-backed cryptocurrency lands in, I believe that is South Africa. 5th of September, 2018. We've seen this over and over and over and over and over. And everyone keeps trying to do it, and it never works. Bless their hearts. I think we're gonna eventually see one that will be adopted in some sort of way. And I don't mean widespread adopted. I think people will have a consensus and go, okay, let's just kind of use this one, but it still will not, is the phrase hold a candle to? It won't be able to match what Bitcoin is. If you want to be honest, these coins backed by gold won't even be able to match what Litecoin is doing. We know for a fact that Litecoin will only have a certain amount of units ever made, and yet we still keep finding gold on this planet, and we will keep finding it for a very long time. And it's now widely believed, so saith the analysts, that there might even be mineral and gold deposits on the moon. and also on asteroids floating around. The point being, I think everyone is just kind of trying to find a way to create a new currency that is stable and not even backed by something. I think people are constantly looking for keywords to try and get other people into their projects. Once again, like I said, these articles were from 2014. This is not new. There have been, as long as I've been in crypto, there have been at least 30 of these. Easily. They've all collapsed. They're all gone. No one talks about them because they don't work. And realistically, you have to be as large as a country to be able to get enough gold to be able to back a new currency. Logically, if Bitcoin's market cap, what is it, around 180 billion, 140, it's billions of dollars. You yourself as a company would have to also accumulate an enormous amount of gold to be able to peg your coin effectively to it. If we see fluctuations in any, the point is, Tether's trying to launch a new coin. I think Tether's trying to become their own little Binance, where they're kind of doing a lot more than they maybe should be doing. But I mean, to be fair, I think if we were all in the position to be able to create our own currency that could be adopted worldwide, we'd probably take the chance to be able to do so. It is kind of a gold rush. No pun intended. It's everyone trying to imagine how quickly you'd go into the history books if you created your own currency. Kind of crazy. Anyway, there we go. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple M and J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy, JR, Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas Runearth, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich, The Third, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hits Chest Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. And yes to crypto. Thank you all very, very much for your support at the moment. For those of you who are or may not be possibly looking at the screen, let me even try to reload this. Bitcoin's price just a couple of minutes ago, there we go, was very close to touching 11,000. It was around $10,963 or something like that. We heard a bit earlier, I think I spoke about it earlier, a lot of people think that Bitcoin this weekend could be potentially trying to make a move above $11,000 once again. I am trying my darndest not to hold my breath. It would be nice. A move above 11,000 would indicate that we are obviously, numbers, moving towards $12,000 as well. A lot of people think that we could try relatively soon to retest the previous highs that we had a couple of months ago where Bitcoin was trying to touch $14,000. That would be incredible. If we could get to at least $13,000 a couple of days before Backed was launching, that would be nice, because a lot of people believe or think, or the idea is, that Bitcoin has to be close to or pass by $20,000 in order for the altcoin season to begin. And I think it's going to be a pretty wicked one, if I can even kind of say that. I think as much as altcoins have been battered and bruised and kind of thrown down to the ground, if there's ever, again, an altcoin season, they're going to completely lose their minds. Many coins right now are incredibly low. I myself am not buying any of them. I mentioned before in another video which coins I am actively buying at the moment. They are number 1, 2, and 3, simply because I think they have the greatest prospect of a return over the next 2-3 years, or take. Anyway, we'll see what happens this week, and I am quite excited to see if prices end up moving, whether up or down. If they move down, I buy more. If they move up, I still buy more, just a little bit more excited because the prices are going up. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.